Good morning and welcome to Obstacle Illusion. I'm April Gallagher and I'm here with my dear friend Anna Clint. And today we're going to be talking about deserving and receiving and worthiness, and just trying to untangle some of those words. Um, and we're just going to go from there. So Anna, would you just kind of kick us off? You were just kind of telling me before we started of what your understanding of the word deserving is and worthy, and just to the
Totally.
best of your.
Yeah, totally. So in our community, right, the spiritual ascension group and personal mastery, personal development, we talk a lot about worthiness and how, so many women especially, and I'm sure men feel this way too, but maybe it just manifests differently or it shows up in other ways. I don't know. But so many women don't feel worthy, like they are deserving of having the life that they want or whatever it is. And it came to my attention recently, someone shared that that this notion of worth is something that is bestowed upon us by an external entity. So worth comes from someone else saying, hey, you're worthy of eating today or having this opportunity or whatever the thing is. When actually, and then so deservingness is this kind of, is like the reverse. It's the inside out. It's like us saying, I deserve this. I am worthy to receive this. And then receivership comes in because we're doing all this work all the time to heal that worthiness wound and to, embrace our own intrinsic value. That's part of the spiritual journey is right, getting it in your bones that you have value just because you're here, because you're breathing, because you're a child of God, or however you want to say it. But so we can think this and feel like we've gotten it here conceptually, maybe even here in our heart. But if we keep pushing away and deflecting, we're not allowing ourselves to receive the abundance that's literally all around us. And so they're all kind of tied in together.
So do you think that, just curious, that if you really, so instead of just saying using worthiness, we're going to use deserving, because by definition worthy is outside in and this is all about inside out, so that's why we're using deserving as opposed to worth. Do you think that if somebody really feels deserving, I feel like I have to put worthy in there because we have the other, because some people just, that's part of it. So if you really feel worthy, if you really feel deserving truly, do you think then you still block the receivership aspect of it? Do you think, are those two separate things?
It's a really great question. What I think it comes down to are those subconscious patterns that we're not really aware of. Like we're working so hard at, and the conscious level, noticing when we're not feeling noticing if we don't feel worthy or deserving or whatever. But if there's that underlying deep energetic block to receivership, then yes, we do. And all these fears crop up. It's kind of like a really gross, and I mean gross as in like not finely detailed, not as in disgusting, but like a gross example is like all these people who Kim's putting in scarcity. Like they've done all this research on lottery ticket winners, like who win the big thing. And like before you know it, they're back to their original baseline. Mm-hmm. And so that is an extreme example of like how we deflect. Now there's tons of reasons why that happens. That's why it's a gross, big picture example, not a really fine detailed example. But we have a baseline program. All of us do. And it's like, until you can clear and heal that baseline program, you're going to unconsciously deflect and not receive. Because really, truly, like y'all, we just talked about this, Erica, like yesterday. Like if you look outside at the abundance of nature, there is literally abundance everywhere around us. It's a metaphor and a symbol of the abundance that's available to us. And yet we often are still in that place of scarcity. We're often in that place of, when something gets too good, we're going to shut it down, and it's unconscious. It's all, we're not saying, oh, I don't deserve this. We're saying, I deserve this. Why isn't this happening?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. So I guess I think that, all right, I'm guessing that that part of the receivership still is that unconscious, the unconscious non-deservability, right? Or I mean, I think that it's in there.
Yeah, yeah.
And so for any of these subconscious patterns that we have that are so ingrained, what do we do to, like, get out of them? I have my ideas, but I know you do too. So what are some of the tools that come to mind? What do we do
Totally.
about this?
Yeah, totally. And I want to hear about your tools too, because you and I work in some ways like so differently, but yet always like we're working towards the same goal, which so
Mhm.
it's so fascinating. So in my opinion, energy healing is fantastic for this because you can get to that root energetic um, misalignment, right? And that's all that it is. It's not a malfunction. It's just how we're wired, and it's just how we're conditioned, and that conditioning runs deep and it goes into your cells. So it's actually it's the 1-2 punch that I say. It's like we learn all of these behaviors at the psychological level from the modeling that we receive from our parents, caregivers, teachers, blah blah blah, society, culture. But then there's like this root energetic thing that's underneath. So it's like it's the top level behavioral kind of thing, and then it's the bottom level, that driving program, that subconscious program. So I use different tools, different modalities. One of them that's fantastic for this is called Psyche, and you can reprogram your limiting beliefs once you can find them. And of course, inquiry and reflection is a huge part of that, because you've got to be able to find them so that you can change them. And so that's one of the tools that I use. And healing and releasing whatever those old triggers are too, that keep you stuck in that knee-jerk reaction pattern. That's that knee-jerk reaction that keeps pushing the thing away, that you're calling it in up here and you're pushing it away down there. So to heal that underlying trigger is really powerful. And I know that you work in a pretty different way. Tell us
Yeah,
what you do.
I do. I mean, I am a huge fan and believer of energy work, and I love the efficiency of that, of going in deep and working outwards. I tend to use a lot of background in feng shui, and so I use the background environment a lot as the
Yeah.
playground, and so have to start with the same place you do. If you have to notice it, right? You have to notice that you have this belief, and then you have to have a desire to make change. And then my tools are a lot about awareness and practice, right?
Hmm.
And so
Totally.
it's being aware of what's going on in the moment, in your environment, and collecting evidence that's in support of what it is you want to see, as opposed to collecting evidence. So instead of collecting evidence of your non-deservability, instead of collecting evidence that reinforces this limiting belief, because
Yeah.
that's what you've been doing on autopilot. It's now about starting to notice, like, oh, wait, like, this is the abundance, the gratitude, all of that that's there. So it's shifting your awareness to focus on that new pattern, or what it is that you think what it is you think you lack, noticing that it's actually there. And
Mhm.
it's about that practice, and it's about doing it every single time this thing comes up that you notice it. Then it's an active, it's not lazy, right? Like it does take
No,
work. But the
that's not
idea
lazy.
here is that this is something that's important to you. This is something that it's worth working on. And
Mhm.
so um, my one of my main tools is noticing it. And then of course, using the environment to support you,
Yeah.
um, having mantras, or having an item in your space that represents what it is that you're like if you have a particularly beautiful vase or something that represents to you, the full vessel or
Mhm.
abundance or whatever it is, and you set an intention, you basically anchor that energetically as a reminder of what it is you're trying to pull into your life. Then, every time you see it, it gives more energy to that. So,
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, I love using the environment as both metaphor and tool, right? So I'm looking at my desk and it's literally covered with paper right now. It is so cluttered.
I just shoved everything on the floor right before this, so
Totally. I was like, yeah, that's what I needed to do. uh, yeah, just to have that clear vessel, as within, so without. I love that. I love it. Um, Erica's desk is covered with rocks.
well,
That's
maybe that
awesome.
means you're very grounded.
Uh-huh. Yes. Yeah, she's calling on her mineral allies.
Um, well, I know we wanted to keep this short today.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Let's open it
and
up.
so I feel like I've said what I've needed to say,
Yeah, me too.
and especially coming into it, not really needing to say anything. We got that covered. And so would like to open it up if there are any questions or any
Yeah,
questions or
observations, reflections.
observations or stories or anything.
Yeah,
Um,
you can unmute yourself or you can put it in the chat, however you prefer. Erica has something.
go for it.
Hi, April. Really nice to meet you. I I always kind of my house. I have stuff. It's beautiful stuff. It's arranged stuff, but there's stuff. And I always wonder about the feng shui, and I move things around all the time. In fact, all my crystals, the clear ones, needed to go on end the other day. So everything in my house now, I just got a message to put them all up and down, all my selenites and stuff. So they're all vertical. So I don't know. I just kind of get what I get, but I really feel like there is something to the whole feng shui deal, and I don't know what that is. Do you have a good resource for that, or are you the resource for that?
I mean, yes, I'm a good resource for that.
Not being in the space,
Yeah.
and I'm
Um,
creating new space, and I'm going, now what needs to be here? I still, in my room of probability, is still just kind of not anything yet because it's still probability.
yeah. I mean, where I always start with everything is a clear vision of what it is you want to create, what it is. So, how do you want to feel in your space? What is it that you want to bring through in your space? What are you looking to create? What's when you're at home? What stew do you want to be stewing in, basically? And so, be very clear about what it is you want in your life, this new earth. What does that look like for you? And be as clear as you can, and not just have it be a mental exercise, but really
Right.
feel the energies of that which you want to create. Or if it's a project, feel the energy of why that's important to you, and really kind of lock that into your beingness, so that you know that it's important to you, and you can feel why it's important to you. And then you use that as your guiding compass, basically, as you're going through your spaces, as you're going through, doesn't matter if it's a drawer, doesn't matter if it's the whole house or if it's the property. It's like, this is what's important. This is my vision. This is what I'm creating. And then everything in your environment speaking to you. You know this, your crystals speak to you. Everything speaks to you. The final paper in a pile of 1,000 on the very bottom is speaking to you, and everything's speaking to you all the time. And so the way I like to approach it is I start with this very clear vision, and then I evaluate everything in the space as it relates to that. I don't evaluate it in relation to how I got it, what it's meant to me in the past, anything like that. It's strictly, this is what I want. Does this thing support me? Is this a cheerleader? Is this a detractor? Is this talking smack to me? And then it's like, okay, I'm sorry, I appreciate your service, but you're no longer, you're no longer in support of where I'm going. And then and then you release that stuff. So that's my very top level kind of overarching strategy as it relates to environment. And then, I mean, to me, that's infinitely scalable, and you can use it in absolutely any situation and anything. So hopefully
It's
I
that.
love that picture behind you, that painting, that
Oh.
those are my colors. That's my, like, oh, that is a heart. That speaks to me.
Well, I actually painted that.
It's fabulous, April.
It was one of those, that was an empty canvas on my wall for a couple of years. And then one morning, I was meditating and I was like, oh, I'm going to paint that canvas today. So
All right,
it
cool.
happened.
Yeah, no, I like it that it was empty for all that time, because I kind of do that too. I have blank walls until it's time for something to be up there. Cool.
awesome.
Oh,
Yeah,
and I
I
will
love-
also give you another resource. There's a book that I love. Her name is Karen Kingston, and the book is called Clear Your Clutter with Feng Shui. It's a tiny little book, and it's a butt kicker. You can't read it and not want to then clear your clutter.
The weird thing is all my interior spaces, closets, this and that are organized. And it's the other stuff around me, but I always go deep and start with the closets. I mean, they just are like that. It's weird.
That's
I'm
awesome.
an organizer at heart.
Kim, do you have something?
My basic thing is just staying on track. But I find that if I can just keep doing the things that make me happy, and Erica, the first thing I ask myself, and I am getting rid of a lot of shit. I mean, it is going because I'm just, I need to be done with it. But the first thing I say, do I love it?
Yeah.
And yes, you've done this for me, but I love this more right now. So you got to go to the thrift store, or you got to go to Ann's house,
I
or you
do
got to
that
go to Betty's.
routinely. I help other
Exactly.
people do that. That's what my job is. I hold their hands so they can do
Yes.
it. But when you do that
Right.
for others, it's not quite as easy. Who's my hand holder? But basically, no, I've got it all pared down. I've got a 2-car garage. I could park 2 cars in.
See that? Oh, good.
Yeah, so
Oh, cool. So
I
I'm not
think that's
close.
good.
I'm getting there. Cool. But that's wrong. But I got to stop the dumpster diving. I mean, I keep getting
It's
sidetracked.
a flow, Kim. They come, they go, they come. And then when I clear out other people's places, I acquire. So there's something about that too. So I feel deserving in that way. The letting go, just of that last piece that we don't even know because it's unconscious. How do you know it's that deal? But I know when it hits my tears, when I get those little something still there.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
I guess that's my particulars.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly it, Erica, is that, how do you know, when stuff's subconscious, like how do you know when it's still running, right? And it's when, it's just like you said, it's when you get those tears, it's when you get up to something that seems like it's an obstacle, right? It's when you, that's then the environmental feedback that this is your indication of like, oh wait, there's still something hidden there. And then that's the point in which you investigate. Otherwise you can just flow in freedom and creativity and and the flow. And it's only those, you don't have to like constantly be like, what's wrong with me, whatever. It's only when you come up against those seeming obstacles that then it's like, okay, there's still something here.
Right. Or zooming out and doing a review and seeing that you're stuck in a pattern, and the pattern could be a 10-year pattern. It could be, it happens once every 10 years, or it could be, it happens once every 10 minutes. And it's like, you've got to get that observer perspective going so that you can then say, oh, shoot. And that's where, talking to someone else.
What you say?
Oh, shoot. That's what I say. That's what I say.
Dang.
Oh, shoot, there's another pattern.
I don't say, oh,
There's
shoot.
still a pattern here.
Dang,
Well,
there is
shucks.
that petty little thing again.
Totally. No, that's not what I say at all. I'm not sure what I say is appropriate for all audiences. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, excellent.
I'm
Anything-
feeling a
yeah.
lot more flowy though. I'll tell you, I really, and I'm not beating myself up nearly. I mean, I'm just being kinder, even in my
Yeah.
in my self speak. I'm just kinder.
Yeah, that's great. That's part of
It's
receivership.
making a huge difference. It just is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I mean, that's like one of the first things we can receive is our own self-kindness.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of starts there. If we can't receive that, we're going to be screwed when it comes to receiving the stuff we really want.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, in just in a very practical way as well, if you're not being very nice to others, they're probably not going to be very inclined to be giving you anything.
That's
So
right.
there's a very practical component to all of this as well.
That's right.
Nice to others. Very nice.
Absolutely.
No, it's receiving what I'm getting. That's where my click is the actual
Mm-hmm.
embracing and receiving it and the deservedness around that. There is still layers there, but
Yeah.
it's better. It's better. Oh, okay, that's way too much. I'm telling this to somebody who's handing me money for a job that I did. That's way too much.
That is so typical of what women do.
Okay, I'm supposed to embrace this. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I grab it, but I don't think that feeling goes all the way. It's a reminder though. So it's starting, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, the very first thing that we do, especially as women, is when someone pays us a compliment, we say, oh, this old thing.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. I just got it at the whatever, or, like we downplay like whatever it is because we don't want to outshine other women.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that thing is a trip. Yeah.
That's part of receivership. It's just saying, well, thank you. I like it too.
Boom.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe next time we can talk about outshining.
Oh, outshining.
That's a good one.
Dimming your light.
Dimming your light.
Dimming your light. That's a big one for women.
Right.
There's a song about that.
Just the light of mine.
That one.
Awesome. Well, are we complete?
Yeah, we're complete. You can close us off. I opened us up.
Oh, all right, great. First and third Thursdays, 9 a.m. Pacific with Anna Clint, that's me, and my pal April Gallagher for
That's me.
I love the A-Team thing. That was pretty funny. I mean, one of the most ridiculous shows on television of all time that I loved.
Yeah, and hopefully this will be one of the most ridiculous shows on YouTube of all time that everyone loves.
I just thought the name was catchy, so I like that alliterative thing.
Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in for another dose of sacred optometry.
Oh, that's what that is. Okay.
Illusion.
I didn't get the sacred up.
Yep.
I do. Oh, I like those. I gotta get me one.
Someday